All right, good morning and welcome back to another edition of our Bakersfield Business Partners Weekly Podcast. My name is Duncan Harris. I'm the owner of Insurance Savings Group and past president of Bakersfield Business Partners, which is a BNI chapter in Bakersfield, California. We meet every week and we're a group of professionals. We're a networking group and we're really helping our members grow their businesses through referrals, but also through education and relationships. And we think we have the best group in town. Actually, we know we do. And the reason why is because we have the best members. So we started a podcast to highlight some of our members. So we've got Daniel here today. Say hello, Daniel.
Hello, Daniel. No, I'm just playing.
And
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for being here. And just tell me a little bit about yourself and who you work for and what you do.
Oh, like I said, my name is Daniel Rodriguez. I work with Oasis Air Solar. I'm an estimator there for not just solar, but air conditioning. However, I have worked there for 10 years, and before I was doing the full-time sales thing, I was a technician, fixing, servicing air conditioners and heaters, and yeah.
Up on the roof, getting your hands dirty, learning the trade.
Climbing under mobile homes. Actually, they knew I wasn't scared to. So
there's AC units under there? I didn't realize.
Well, there's a duct.
Oh, I see.
That connects when it's like a double wide.
Got it.
Then I have sometimes.
Man, you've been all over. You've seen stuff. This is what we should talk about the whole podcast. Is just the crap you've seen under people's houses.
Yeah, literally.
Can we do that? Oh no, maybe not. Well, look, thanks for being here, and glad to have you. So, could you tell us how you got started with Oasis?
Well, I was working with another company in town for 4 years as a technician. My daughter was born, and I left that company to. Actually, I thought I was going to go into another field. I was going to go train to be what's called a HERS rater. They're the guys that come and test your ducts after a unit's installed. That part has to be done by law. So I was going to go get a license to do that and start a business. When I got a call from Ben Dominguez, the owner, somehow he heard that about me through the supply house. And he had me come by the office, and I was telling him, I don't want to be a tech no more. But if you know Ben, he's very persuasive, and he convinced, just come on. And so I came, and then I was a tech for 10 more years. But he said, hey, all along, like I want you to grow from here and not just be a technician. And so, 10 years later, actually about 5 years ago, he had started me doing estimates while I was still a technician. And then finally this past January, now I'm full-time in sales, which is kind of a new thing for me.
It's a big shift for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. From going from technician to sales.
But that's cool. And that's kind of awesome, that Ben, way back when, 10 years ago, saw that potential. I mean, that had to be a good feeling, for someone to chase after you like that.
Well, yeah, I guess first he knew that on the technician side I was ready to go. Then I don't know. I'm guessing as I worked, he was like, "Oh, maybe you can go to something else.
Yeah.
It could be more." But yeah, that felt good.
Tell me about Oasis Air Solar. So what do you guys do?
Well, as the
name says, right? I know. So right. So, but expand upon it. Maybe just for people that don't
there's
know.
more to that as far as the air conditioning, heating, air. But in that also comes ventilation, with the air quality in our homes. We can deal with that. Actually, anything with the home, insulation, we can help with that as well. And then solar, it's pretty self-explanatory. Let's get rid of our electric bill and with solar. So combining your air conditioning and solar, we can cut down the uses of your air conditioning. And then maybe you don't need so many panels on your roof. A lot of people don't like the way they look on the top of the roof.
Yeah,
So if we can put less, then we can make you feel more comfortable.
But man, that's been a big shift here, especially in California. I feel like so many people are moving to solar. Is that true or?
Yes. Yeah, everyone's I guess at first it's been around for a long time and slowly but surely it's come around, and now it's like pretty common being up on the roof there. Or in some cases, you see all the schools have they have their parking lots with those covers and everywhere as we're trying to produce more energy and be less reliant on on PG&E.
Yeah, PG&E, right.
Or whoever your utility is.
So, you're doing quotes for solar, right? So, new installation, I assume, and then can you add on panels to an existing system?
Yes. So if it's actually a newer, like somewhat newer, and it's not maybe keeping up with your usage, or you started using more, you put an electric car, then and it's we can still get the same type of parts, then it can be added on. If it's an older system and like the inverters and stuff are not being made no more, then it's like almost having a second solar system put in with it, and they'll both work, but they are not going to be like connected to each other. So it just depends on your situation. But yeah, you can add. If there's room on your roof to do it, you can add.
Got it. So obviously there's lots of, people in town trying to sell solar. What do you think sets Oasis apart from your competition?
Well, what I try to do is, because there's not a lot to the panels, right? You put them up there, you connect it, and it's going. So and everyone can do that. Well, we like to run any connection between the different arrays, have all the connections happening under the roof line. So you don't have like what are called conduits, which is like those metal pipes going across the roof. So we like to make sure that we run it there so it looks aesthetically a little more pleasing. You already have these panels on the roof, which a lot of people aren't a big fan of. And so now having, electric lines going all across the roof, either, you don't want that either. So that's one thing we do differently, is run it through there. And
do you think your company's experience in like the air conditioning and being on roofs has kind of helped you with that?
I think so.
Just in terms of like maybe the craftsmanship and the workmanship.
Yeah, we focus on like that kind of aesthetic. Even with your air conditioner, we always try to make it look real clean. Little details that can go unnoticed till later on. Like, hey, I never noticed that wire is just hanging there.
Yeah.
When we run it where it's a little more hidden.
Well, yeah, you're right. Whether it be an air conditioner or solar, those things are going to sit on your roof for the next 20 years or something like that. So you might as well make sure it's done right, installed properly. What else? All right. So what is there anything else that would kind of like make you guys unique or different?
Well, I would say from my standpoint, when I go and give someone a quote, I see how much energy they're going to need to offset their bill. And then I'm just pretty upfront with them, like, hey, this is what it's going to cost. If you're going to finance, then this is the price. I'm pretty open without that there's fees when you go and finance. I just lay it out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, I want to get this big commission. It's like, no, I'm trying to, and this is one thing that Ben and them said, is like, I'm always trying to get the price down. And there's like, why are you like, because I try to think of me getting a bid.
Sure.
And like, I'm trying to do where it's fair. Like, yes, the company's going to make money, but I'm also going to be fair to the customer. So that's how I go for it. Now, they haven't gotten mad with me because people like that. So so far, so good.
That's good.
Until they tell me something.
Well, Oasis has been around for a while. So you guys have, I'm sure that's what you've been doing the whole time. Actually, I can see your shirt. Is it 1958 or 68?
68, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Did Ben start it or did someone else?
He worked for the original owner.
Okay.
And then he purchased the company from them. Yeah.
1968. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's like an ideal customer for you?
For solar, someone that's tired of these big energy bills. Their back of their roof faces south, then they don't have the panels in the front, right? That's kind of ideal.
That's the perfect one. Yeah.
When someone has it facing in the back, then it's like, oh, they're typically not too concerned with the way it looks if it's on the back of the house.
Right.
I guess with the roof being like that, like not a lot of pitches.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's houses where you have panels just all over the place, and that's because the way the roof is lined up. Mm-hmm. But I guess a square house
would be ideal.
Yeah.
So if that's the case with someone's roof, are you guys able to work around that, or maybe like add a shade structure? Is there something you can do?
Yeah, we had to do that recently where one of the houses in downtown, it was just not conducive for solar. There's just so many peaks and stuff. It was like you'd have like too many panels, like one panel here, too many arrays, right? It would just look really horrible. So we ended up, we had to work with another company who built the shade structure and then put the panels on top of it.
Oh, sweet.
So that just opens up a whole other thing, right? Because now the structure itself has to pass different types of inspections as far as being able to withstand winds, especially, and you're going to have weight on top of it. So
It has to withstand the crazy wind we get here in Bakersfield.
well,
But
worst case scenario,
mostly the dust and dirty air.
right? But it's like everything has to be worst case scenario.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
That 100-year windstorm.
yeah, and so then you have to pass those criteria, and then you can move forward.
Does it always make sense to go to solar? Are there certain clients where you're like, nah, it's just not a good fit? I mean, maybe if the panels are going to be on the front of the house, but I mean, is there any? It seems like solar is cheaper than buying electricity from PG&E. Is that always the case, or are there exceptions to that?
Well, the big one I get is an older customer is like, well, I'm going to be dead in 5 years. Why should I get the panels?
Kind of a pessimistic look on life.
But that's you hear that a lot actually. Even with the air conditioner, like, well, why do I want a new air conditioner if I'm going to die? So, and I don't have. They didn't teach us how to overcome that objection, right? It's like, well, all I can do is say, hey, look, pretty much if you can, the panels are going to pay for themselves in about 5 years if you pay outright for them.
Yeah.
Right. And, you think that would benefit you, then.
Does it lower someone's monthly payment? Like if I'm paying PG&E on average $300 a month and I switch to solar, but I'm financing it, is that usually a lower payment or?
For the most part, yes. It would depend on your usage, but you typically want to set up your financing so that it's going to be less than what you're paying monthly, your average bill. That way, you don't really feel it. Mm-hmm. So now instead of giving your money to PG&E every month, you're paying this loan off, which once it's paid off is going to now have a return on on your investment, right? Where with PG&E, you're just giving them your money. I always tell people, if you remember, it's like everyone has paid for a solar system, but not everyone has it, right? Because every month, for how long have you been had a PG&E account?
Well, forever, yeah.
20 plus years?
Yeah, forever.
So how much money have you given them for electricity in 20 years?
I don't know.
Right? So how many solar systems have you bought, but you don't have unless you already have solar?
Yeah. That's a good point. So besides fear of death, is there any other reason why someone wouldn't go solar? I mean, to me, we have solar on our house, right? Before we met you, we had worked with a different solar contractor. So
great.
To me, the numbers, like, I guess I just was looking at the numbers and I don't know why anyone wouldn't do it, especially if you just factor in the rate increases that PG&E is going to do over the next 20 years.
The projection, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to go down. I mean, so it seemed like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I guess, too, if your house has illegal things on it, like additions, I guess, you're not going to be able to, because then in order for it to move forward, it can't be done on the side, in other words, right? Because they have to come and get permission to operate from the utility company, and that requires the permit to be fulfilled. And so if you have a house where you like added on a room and didn't pull the permit, or then that would come up, right?
Causes a problem.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's going to open up a can of worms when they come out. So that would be someone that unfortunately wouldn't fly. And I've had to go to people's houses and they want solar, and I'm like, hey, you see stuff that doesn't look right, and I ask, hey, was this permitted? And then they've said no. I said, well, look, if we do this, they're going to come out and do an inspection, and they're like, oh yeah, never mind. Yeah.
Their brother-in-law did it. Their brother-in-law did
an addition.
The addition or whatever. So if someone's looking to get solar or maybe a new AC unit, what are some good tips that you could give them? Or another way to ask it is like, what are maybe some of the common pitfalls you see people making when they're getting solar quotes or looking to get solar? What kind of advice would you give?
Well, get your bids. I would say, even if you got your bid from us, get multiple bids, which is pretty common, right? You don't want to unless you just really like me right away, let's do it. But
I do. Yeah. let's go for it.
But I would always say get multiple bids and, choose the one that you feel most comfortable with. That way you're making an informed decision. I've heard horror stories with other companies where I'm sure they did a good job, but they charged a whole lot more. And like this, and why was your bid so lower? It's like, I don't know, because this is what we want to make. We're not trying to go that far on our margin. And of course, it's not illegal to charge whatever you charge, because
I guess I should ask, do you see that a lot when you're out there and you're talking to homeowners and clients? Like, are you seeing really like overinflated quotes?
I have, yeah, on both, on the AC side and on solar. And it's just, maybe that company needs to make a certain margin, and maybe that's why their price is so much more. But yeah.
Is there a huge difference in like the final product?
I don't think so. I mean, they might even be less. I've seen where it's not as good as, I would say, as we would do it. So they're paying more, and it's not as great of an end result. Or there's issues afterwards, and then they can't even get them to come back out. And that's when you're paying more, you think you might get more service in the back end, and sometimes it doesn't happen that way.
Well, that's one thing I think you should touch on for Oasis. It's Oasis, but also Ben, the owner. I mean, you guys really stand behind your work, so if there's any issues, I know you guys really kind of try and take care of the client. I mean, do you have any good stories to back that up? I know that Ben has told a number over the years, but
yeah, he might have told where that we had an issue with an air conditioner, and we went and put a brand new one. Last year, an air conditioner I sold, the compressor failed like within a month. The compressor went out, which is like
very
rare.
Yeah.
Right. And so we went and put a brand new unit on. Like, we even just got it. Didn't even ask permission from the distributor. Like, we just did it. And then afterwards, we're like, they ended up crediting us. One story, a gentleman who had a solar system installed by another company. I know him from school and stuff. He's a business owner here downtown for a restaurant. And he's like, hey, I'm getting these true-ups like $4,000. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
And he has, my panels. Well, what did they say? So they came and they said everything's working. I go, you don't have a monitoring? He's like, no, they said I was like, well, let me send our guys, we sent them out there, and then it turns out the way they wired the wires coming in, like they had the plus or minus crossed, and so basically like the electricity was canceling out. So he wasn't generating electricity. So we fixed that for him, and then we didn't charge him, and we're just like, just tell people about us, what we did for you. So even going and fixing someone else's solar system. There's a gentleman here in town too, where one of his panels is broken, and he's been for years trying to get someone to because you can't get those panels anymore. And he has a single inverter, which if one messes up, it kind of takes out a whole line of the panels.
Okay.
Because they're all interconnected.
Okay.
And so that one panel's down, so like 6 panels aren't producing. So I went out there and I was just like, well, you can't get those panels no more. And he has like a really nice house. He built a shade structure so that nothing's on his roof just for the panels. So, well, we can just bypass that one, right? Just pass the wires along and then go from there. And so he's like, well, okay, at least you had some suggestion. It's like, but it's been years, and he's had trouble just for getting someone out there.
So he's trying to call his original solar people, and they blew him off or didn't respond or whatever.
Yeah, and we are there for his air conditioner, and I was there on a service, and he brought that up. I was like, well, that was my suggestions. Like, you can't get those panels no more, and it wasn't like, oh, let's just put all new panels, right? They're still working what he has.
I mean, you guys have been around since 1958, 68. Most of your solar competitors started when, do you think?
Oh, at least 20 years ago. And our solar team, I would say, has not been around that long. We've been air conditioning. We started a solar back in I would say 2015. We hired on Harlan.
Harlan,
yeah. He teaches solar.
Harlan's been doing solar forever.
So we got him on board to get the department going.
Yeah.
So our experience is vast. Our installers that we had doing air conditioning, we converted them over to doing a group of them to do solar. So now these guys learned a new skill doing solar and air conditioning. But yeah, other companies, I'm sure there's some that have been around, if not longer. But that's where we lay our head on, is we got Harlan, who actually teaches this stuff to the guys that are working across town. So
yeah,
we rely on him a lot.
So what's new in the industry? What's coming up that people need to be aware of?
Well, April 13th, 14th, the rate change from the net metering 2.0, which if you get solar now, you'll be on that rate. After that date, if you don't have like your paperwork turned in to PG&E for your permission to operate, then you'll be on the 3.0 rate. So the 3.0 rate that you'll be on is going to basically, the way I can describe it easily would be, in the day, your excess power that you send, that PG&E credits you, they're not going to credit you the same amount as they charge you for at night. So like right now in the day, when you're making excess electricity and they're giving you, as an example, 28 cents for kilowatt.
So let me make sure I understand. So like, let's say I get solar today and my solar panels are generating power, and I'm sending power back into the grid to PG&E. I'm operating under a certain set of rules, and so PG&E has to buy that power from me for, how much is it? Like 28 cents?
28 cents.
Roughly, or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
that's changing.
Yeah, so now what they're going to buy for you is like 75% less. So like 8 cents a kilowatt hour. But at night, when you're reliant on the grid,
right, TV's on, AC's on.
They're still going to charge you the full price. So right now, it's kind of like a 1-for-1 deal. And the day and night on the 2.0 net metering rate. And then once you go to 3.0, they're going to charge you the same amount at night. But in the day, what you're sending them, they're going to give you 75% less.
So what does that mean? I mean, if I'm going to buy solar in the summer, what does that mean for me?
Then you're going to have to, instead of just putting like a bunch of panels, you'll have to do panels and a battery. So then at night, you're going to rely on your battery instead of the grid to get to that 100% usage, so that you don't have a electric bill.
Right.
What that means is that it's going to be real expensive. Right now, with just doing panels, it can be expensive also. But if you're doing panels and a battery, it's just going to up the price and really going to put a lot of people like aren't going to be able to do it. I guess lower income families will have a hard time, or they'll have to pull this big loan and they may not be able to qualify for it, or monthly payments are going to be a lot higher than they used to be. It's going to be I guess wait and see, right? Basically the battery industry is going to boom because everyone's going to be wanting
homeowners will have to, they'll have to purchase batteries. What about the solar panels? Are the panels going to be able to like generate more power over the next coming years to offset that, or?
Well, you'll get panels that are going to be increasing in efficiency, and the microinverters, which is what most people are putting in now, will get better as well. But it's still going to be the rate, right, that the utility is going to give you. So no matter how much you're producing, you might be able to put less panels and produce more, but you're still going to have to deal with the rate plan that you're on.
So what if they got solar and then they got a more efficient air conditioner to lower their energy usage? Would that be good?
Yeah, that's the ideal situation, right? Because why not? Why wouldn't? Would I tell people, look, you're going to have this new air conditioner, and say we modified some of the ductwork. You can keep the house colder, and your bill's going to go lower.
Can you guys package that all together, like in one loan, one deal?
Yeah. That's the ideal way to do it. That way, your tax credit would be.
You get the tax credits on everything.
On everything.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Of course, that's
tax credits are how much?
30%.
So if I spend $30,000 on some solar panels and a AC unit, I'm gonna get a roughly $10,000 tax credit or something.
Correct.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tax credit, so not a rebate.
Yeah, right.
So talk to your tax professional.
Right.
Because I hear that too this guy said I'm gonna get like this money back, and
it's a credit against the taxes you would have owed or paid.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then if you don't, so what if I don't owe taxes as well? You'd have to talk to your tax professional, but then you got to do something to owe, right? To federal, maybe on your check, bring home your federal instead of letting them take it out. And then that way you owe at the end of the year, and then you can use it.
Got it.
That's the easiest way I can explain it to people. And because I don't want to get kind of caught up in that. It's like, you got to talk to your tax guy. And if you're a TurboTax person, then you got to go to someone like Darren Williams. CPA.
Well, cool. So tell me, what do you think the best part about your job is?
I guess meeting people, yeah, like joining this group has been great because otherwise I would never have met you or
Yeah.
the people in this group.
They keep you techs locked in the basement or what? They don't let you out? I mean,
Well, I'm just saying the circles of life that
Yeah.
we run in, right?
yeah.
Where we have met, you know.
That's
It's
true.
yeah. So like, and the people that I meet when I go to their homes.
That's a really good point. You're right. You do kind of cross with people that you otherwise wouldn't have, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's like maybe, and then if you get along, it's like wow, I would never thought would have. You know, everyone has their preconceptions with people, whether we like it or not, right? And it's
Sure.
like and then if you see me walking down the street, like, oh, who's this guy? Like, and then
That's exactly what I would think. If I saw you on the street, I'd cross the street. I'd walk around.
This guy's scary looking, right? Well, yeah, but then you start talking to people, and you're kind of. I guess we were forced because we're in this group.
Yeah.
You have to get to know each other, and I think that's good for people sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
like go meet this person whether you want to or not, and then
Sure.
it's like, hey, these people are cool. Like,
It's almost like an exercise, like you kind of force yourself to do it. But it's good. It's beneficial, like you're saying.
yeah,
Well, let's kind of switch gears. You kind of did it already, and let's kind of shift to BNI. So you've been a member of our group for how long? You just kind of took over for Harlan, who was
Yeah.
there for a while. But how long have you been attending our meetings? Do you remember?
since December, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah,
So
I took over for Harlan.
This is really new for you. I mean, we're talking 3 months in. So
With this group, I was in a BNI group before where I was doing the air conditioning and
Okay.
that BNI group,
Got it.
and I was in that group for almost 2 years before COVID, and then that group disbanded,
Got it.
and then I joined this group. But this group has been great.
So besides forcing you to talk to people you otherwise wouldn't have, I mean, tell me about the experience. Has it been good? Has it helped you grow as a salesperson, as a business?
I think so because then you're learning from people. I've subbed in this group before, so whenever Ben would ask me to sub, it was actually I was a little nervous because this was a big group and the group I was in was only like 12 people, and when I first came in, everything was real professional, and my other group wasn't as stringent as the BNI guidelines have us follow. So it was really nerve-wracking a little bit. I still get nervous in our meeting when we have our 60 seconds and stuff. You don't get nervous?
No, I used to, but not anymore. Not anymore. No, I don't. Yeah, I think I've said the same commercial so many times, and I'm just not scared of what people are going to think, And then sometimes you stand up and you say your commercial and like you kind of bomb or you just forget what you were going to say. You stutter, you get lost. And people just kind of laugh with you and you move on and the meeting keeps going. And I just learned like, hey, you get a redo next week. It's not that big a deal. And everyone in our group has been there too. That's the other thing I realized. Being in the group for a while, you kind of see new people come in. And everyone says the same thing that you kind of say, like, oh, we're nervous to stand up and say our 60-second commercials. But then as people stay in the group, they get better and they get less nervous and their commercials get better and people kind of tend to grow. So I just have like this confidence in the group that the people that come in and they stay and kind of put in the time, good things happen for them. They become better communicators. They become more confident public speakers.
Yeah.
So I just kind of really believe in the system, and that's why I don't worry about what I'm going to say or if it's perfect. I'm kind of on like a track of progression in the group, being around 26, 27 other people who are motivated and positive and energetic is always kind of contagious and uplifting for me.
Yeah, and then that development that you get out of it is like just kind of the bonus. Like, yeah, we're there for our businesses and we want referrals for our business to grow. And then you come out like, whoa, I've changed. Like, yeah, like I absorb from everyone there. Like you learn from them, and then we have our one-to-ones, and then we learn from each other.
Yeah.
As I tell some of my friends that are business owners that I'm, trying to get to come to our group, and they're like, no, I'm not into it. I'm like, you could learn so much ago. It's going to benefit your business. Like you're getting free information. There's like, there's accountants and stuff, and like you think you know everything, but you don't, like,
Yeah.
you're never going to stop learning. Right. So, and then I don't tell them, but you do improve, like speaking publicly, which if you're not used to, like I didn't grow up like the student body president having to give speeches and stuff, so I didn't have that, until college when you took your speech class. That was like when I started doing more public speaking, but I wasn't really used to like doing that. And so, I still get nervous, but I feel like I've gotten better since joining BNI from my previous group and onto this one.
Well, that's good. Look, I couldn't tell you're nervous. I think you do a good job. I think you're naturally like a very friendly person. Like I think people. I'm just saying. It would seem to me that it would be easy for people to kind of connect with you and talk with you. So maybe that's what Ben saw, and that's why he wanted you to kind of
maybe. Well, I always tell my son now, because it's like that nervousness that you're feeling, right? Because he's younger. He's 15 now. Mm-hmm. That chemical release is the same when you're nervous talking, or if you're scared, or if you're talking to a girl. It's the same. It's the same chemical. Now it's like I tell them, how do you learn how to use that feeling? Is going to be the difference. Is how I tell them, right? Like, because that chemical is the same. It's just, but how is your mind interpreting it?
And you're giving them like pickup lines to like.
No. Well, as when I talk to my friends about it, they always kind of laugh, because when my son was in 4th grade and like student council stuff came up, and I kind of said, yeah, go for it, right? Because he had to give a speech, and like 3 years in a row, had to give the speech in front of his class.
Sure, big deal.
School.
It's a big deal.
And then he lost 2 years, and then finally in the 3rd year he won activities director. But what maybe he knows now is the whole point was I wanted him to talk in front of a group of people. And I tell him now that he's 15, he's like, you're like so ahead of like where I was. Like I never did that, and it's like, and now he's not nervous talking in front of people. So there's a little method to my madness. I don't know if it's working as a parent, but
it definitely is. Now that's awesome. That's a great story. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I couldn't do that when I was 15. So well, what else?
Make your kids do.
I think I will. My kids are still young, so yeah, I need to like force them.
Like, oh yeah, you should run for that. Just do it, and then help them, right? Like, oh, let me help you write your speech, and then I would like, at my house, I have like some studio equipment, so I had like the microphone, and I had them actually practicing on a microphone and everything at home before the speech, like over and over, so that he was like confident, and don't just tell him to do it and then not help, right? Like really get into it with them. Yeah, anyways.
No, look, we could talk about our kids forever. I love it. That's great. Well, anything else before we kind of sign off? Any last parting words? I mean, thanks for joining us. I definitely think just who you are, your character, your qualities make, they enhance our group for sure. So, but anything else about Oasis or solar?
Just if you need solar, give us a call to come out and give an estimate. But
what's your phone number?
661-322-2665. 322-COOL.
322-COOL.
Yeah.
Where are you guys located?
1000 East Truxton.
I've been there a little while, since 68. So we're coming up on what, 50, 60 years or something?
Yeah, 55 years, I think, this year. But one thing I would say, when even if you don't choose us, like I'm always willing to help. There's one lady who I was giving a quote for air conditioner, and she wanted a certain type of unit, and you have to be like a dealer to get it, and no one was really helping her. And I was like, look, if you can't find someone, look, I will actually help you find the contractor, even though it's not us. That's how far I'm willing to go. Even I could help you find the right person, even if you're not going to use Oasis. I just don't want to see people get taken advantage of. So,
well, good on you. That's awesome.
I learned that from Ben too. Like, do always at the end, are we doing the right thing? And if we do that, even if we don't get the deal that time, in the end, it'll
come back.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Well, awesome. Look, that's great. That's the perfect thing to finish with. That's what people should take home. And I've known Ben a long time, and Oasis, and that's who your company is, right? I mean, you guys are kind of out there in the community, and yeah, you sell air conditioners and solar panels, but you're doing the right thing for people, and you're honest and transparent, and educating people on their choices. So you guys will be around another 50 years, I'm sure. So anyhow, hopefully. Thanks for and you'll be an old man by then. Anyhow, well, thanks for joining us today. If you're listening and you'd like to come to one of our meetings, we meet Tuesday mornings at 7:30, and there's like 25, 30 people in the group, and everyone gets to give a 60-second commercial about their business. And we kind of talk about what we did here today, maybe what makes you unique or special or stand out amongst your competition, and what's a good referral for you. So, and then by that, you become a better speaker. You'll kind of learn the key words that people pick up on, and you'll get referrals. You get to know the other members in the group, and you get referrals, and your business will grow. So come join us, Bakersfield Business Partners, and we hope to see you on Tuesday morning. But until then, Daniel, thanks for being here. Make it a good day, and we'll talk to you next time.
My pleasure.